At their heartbreaking funeral, my 7-year-old discovered Grandma's hidden secret in 2 baby bottles. Billy stood in the crowded church, his heart a heavy stone. The scent of blooming flowers mixed with the smell of worn wood filled the air, and the murmurs of sorrow danced like silent ghosts around him. He was just 7, but he understood loss in a way that a child shouldn't. Grandma Ruth was the heart of their tight-knit family, the anchor in their quaint Midwestern town. Now the echoes of her laughter and warm hugs were replaced by the haunting silence of grief. He glanced at the faces around him, neighbors, friends, family, each one a reminder of the woman he adored. It hurt more than he could say. Yes, family and friends shared tearful memories. Billy's eyes wandered, searching for a way to escape. The room felt suffocating, filled with too many whispers and heavy hearts. He slipped out of the pew unnoticed, propelled by a youthful urge to find something, anything that reminded him of Grandma's love. He wandered toward the attic, following the faint light that slipped through a small window. In the dimness he found 2 dust-covered baby bottles. Curiosity pulled him closer. He uncorked one, and as the seal broke, an unexpected cloud of dust swirled around him. Inside were faded letters and old photographs, whispers of lives lived long ago. The letters told stories of dreams woven together, lush with the promise of what could be. He felt an ache in his chest, the kind that thrummed with the memory of Grandma's tender smile. Each word spoke of her sacrifices, her laughter silenced by duty, her hopes buried beneath the weight of family expectations. Tears stung his eyes. Back in the church, hushed conversations turned into raised voices as his mother and uncle grappled with Grandma's legacy. Were her sacrifices truly selfless? Or were they dreams long forgotten? Billy felt their pain thrumming like a heartbeat, and tightness gripped his chest. His mother's voice quaked. All she ever wanted was for us to thrive, didn't she? His uncle's response was equally strained. But what about her dreams? She deserved her own life too. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Billy clutched the letters close, feeling the weight of their discovery. There was talk in the air, swirling like autumn leaves. His grandmother had dreamed of a community garden, a space to cultivate not just crops, but the love and friendship that flourished in their town. If only they could see it, and her ambition as something more than mere sacrifice. As the funeral unfolded, his heart raced with the urgency of what he'd found. He wished he could make them understand. Wasn't this the key to honoring her memory? But as he listened to the escalating argument, fear gripped him. What if ambition drove them apart instead of pulling them together? The ghosts of unfulfilled dreams hovered around Billy, cloaking him in doubt. Will anyone embrace Grandma's wishes? Amidst the rising tension, he wondered who would choose to nurture the seeds of her dream. The silence thickened, leaving him with a heart full of questions, ready for the storm that lay ahead. Billy stood on the edge of the attic, clutching the letters as if they were made of glass. Each fragile paper felt like a connection to Grandma Ruth, a silent beckoning to breathe life into her forgotten dreams. The wooden beams above creaked softly, a reminder that memories linger in shadows long after people leave. He wanted nothing more than to shout down to the family below. It was like he held a secret that could mend the brokenness swirling in the air. What good were all these memories of Grandma if they didn't lead them back to her wishes? He needed to share what he'd found. Gathering his courage, he started down the rickety stairs, the letters pressed against his tiny chest. Every step felt heavy. As he reached the bottom, he froze at the sight. His mother's eyes were glistening with tears, and his uncle's face was tense, fists clenched tightly by his sides. It felt wrong to approach them now, caught up in their grief. "Mom, Uncle Joe," he squeaked, his voice barely breaking through the tension. "I found something." The words rushed out, an urgent plea for their attention. They turned startled. His mother knelt down, her face softening despite the sadness. "What is it, sweetheart?" Billy opened the letters slowly, careful not to tear them. These Grandma wrote them. They're about her plans. He felt the warmth of hope blooming as his mother leaned closer, Her brow furrowed in confusion. "What plans, Billy?" Uncle Joe asked, skepticism mixing with curiosity. The air felt electric as Billy explained the garden, each word a step toward bridging the divide between his family's pain and Grandma's unfulfilled dreams. She wanted to grow vegetables and flowers and bring people together, just like she always did. His mother's eyes sparkled, then clouded just as quickly. "That was a long time ago, Billy. Things are different now. But it doesn't have to be," he insisted, heart pounding. "What if we do it? What if we make her garden real?" He glanced between them, hope struggling against their sorrow. Joe's face softened, but he shook his head. "Your grandma's dreams are just that, dreams. But this isn't just about the garden," Billy pressed, his words pouring out like a rushing stream. "It's about what she wanted for us. She loved us so much. She wanted us to be happy." Silence fell, punctuated only by the creaking floorboards. In that moment, Billy could almost hear Grandma's laughter, a melody that had once resonated through their home now lost amidst the weight of grief. He held up a letter, a small hope shining within him. "Please, let us think about it. For her." His mother took a deep breath, searching his little face for something, maybe certainty, maybe acceptance. The tension was palpable as she glanced at her brother, who seemed to be wrestling with his own feelings. "We should think about this, Joe," she said finally, voice trembling. "She did so much for us." Billy felt a tremor of excitement at the spark of possibility. Maybe this was the light they needed to sift through the shadows of their grief. Perhaps Grandma's dream could unite them, heal some of the wounds born from loss. But deep inside, the fear of rejection lingered. What if they couldn't agree? What if his mother and Uncle Joe couldn't see what he saw? He held his breath, waiting for their answer, the weight of their silence pressing against his chest. Finally, Uncle Joe sighed, his expression softening. We can talk about it," he said almost hesitantly. Billy's heart leaped, but he sensed that this was just the beginning. There were hurdles to cross, emotions to face, and the ghost of Grandma's ambitions needed to be unburdened. "Okay, let us start small," Joe continued. "We can visit the old lot. We need to remember what she wanted." And just like that, something shifted, a fragile yet hopeful thread weaving through the fabric of their family. Billy smiled, fresh resolve filling him. They could make it happen. But as he turned to lead them outside, a terrifying thought struck him. What if uncovering the garden's legacy meant unearthing more than just memories? What if there were even bigger secrets waiting in the shadows? The next chapter was awaiting them, and the heart of their grandmother's story was only just beginning to unfold. Billy led the way outside, his heart fluttering in his chest, like a butterfly born from a cocoon. The backyard seemed to stretch endlessly, untouched since Grandma had tended to it. With every step he breathed in the scent of earth, mixed with the fading blooms of summer. His mother and Uncle Joe walked behind him, their voices low, tangled with uncertainty. Billy stole glances over his shoulder. Was their hesitation rooted only in grief? Or did they also fear facing whatever memories lay buried in the old lot? When they reached the edge of the overgrown space, a shiver of anticipation ran down Billy's spine. He could almost picture Grandma kneeling there, dirt under her fingernails, humming her favorite tunes as she gently coaxed her plants to life. "Billy," his mother finally broke the silence, her voice soft yet firm. "Are you sure about this? What if it's too much?" Billy turned to her, determination filling his small frame. "Grandma wanted this, Mom. We owe it to her to try." Unspoken words lingered in the air. Grief, hope, unresolved love. With a deep breath, Uncle Joe pushed aside the wildflowers that had taken over, revealing patches of soil that had once flourished. It's been a while," he muttered, the sadness seeping into his words as he knelt beside an ancient stone that Grandma had always cherished. They stood in a triangle, Billy, his mother, and Uncle Joe, each connected by threads of memory and loss. "Let us dig," Billy suggested, excitement tinged with trepidation. He reached for a small shovel leaning against the side of the house, its rusted surface reflecting the sunlight. With each thrust of the shovel into the earth, Billy could feel the tension in the air shift. They were unearthing not just soil but fragments of their past. He glanced at his uncle, who was slowly pulling away clumps of grass, his forehead furrowed in concentration. The further they dug, the more vivid Billy's memories became. The laughter around the dinner table, the stories Grandma told, the thick smell of her homemade pie wafting from the oven. And then there, buried deep, they hit something hard. His heart raced. "What is it?" he gasped, dropping to his knees beside his uncle. They brushed away the dirt, revealing 2 small glass bottles, their surfaces dusty but intact. A rush of urgency swept through him. "What's inside?" his mother gasped, eyes wide as she leaned down. "Billy, those look so old." Uncle Joe's fingers trembled as he gently lifted one of the bottles out of its earthy grave. What could she have been keeping here? Billy's mind raced. Secrets. The word echoed in his head, amplifying the fear and thrill all at once. Grandma had always been full of stories, but had she also hidden something deeper? With shaky hands, Billy opened one of the bottles. Inside was a yellowed slip of paper, folded carefully. Holding his breath, he carefully unfolded it, revealing Grandma's handwriting. "Billy, it's a letter," his mother whispered, her voice tinged with awe. The 3 of them huddled close, the world around them fading. Billy's heart thumped wildly, realization flooding through him as he began to read. "My dear family," it began, words spilling into the air like petals in the wind. He could feel Uncle Joe's breath catch beside him. The letter contained emotions, regrets, dreams unfulfilled. Each line laid bare Grandma's heart. But then a heavy weight settled in the pit of Billy's stomach as they reached a portion that hinted at something hidden, something significant yet shrouded in mystery. Moments later, the bottle rattled in his hands and his eyes widened. "There's something else," he exclaimed, peering into the bottle again, desperate to uncover whatever Grandma had sealed away all those years. What other secrets lay hidden in this garden of memories? As his family exchanged glances filled with a new, deeper worry, Billy couldn't shake off the chilling thought that this was just the beginning. The garden was alive, waiting for its secrets to be unearthed. But would they be ready for the truth that awaited them? Billy's fingers trembled as he tugged at the piece of paper still stuck inside the glass. Whatever Grandma had chosen to keep sealed all these years was screaming for attention, and he had to know what it was. "Mom, can you help?" he called out, his voice cracking with excitement and nerves. He could see the tension in his mother's face as she moved closer, kneeling beside him. Her hands gently steadied his, fingertips brushing his palm, reminding him they were in this together. "Okay, let us be careful," she said, the warmth of her voice soothing him. Uncle Joe hovered nearby, eyes wide as he watched, taking in every detail as if this was all part of a sacred ritual. Billy's heart felt like it might leap from his chest at any moment. What if it's something important? He breathed, overwhelmed by the possibilities. Would it be a treasure? Or maybe something more heartbreakingly human? With one final tug, the slip of paper slid out, but it wasn't just a letter. A small silver key slipped through his fingers and landed softly in the dirt. It caught the light as it landed, shining like a star fallen from the night sky. "Whoa," Uncle Joe breathed, inching closer. That as his voice trailed off, leaving an air of mystery that wrapped itself around them like a cloak. Billy picked up the key, its cool surface fitting neatly in his palm. What does it open? He wondered aloud. The thought sent ripples of energy through him. What if there's a treasure chest or a diary? "We need to read the letter first," his mother interjected, her voice firm but shaky. "Let us see what Grandma wanted us to know." With the key still clutched tightly, Billy turned his gaze back to the fragile paper in his other hand. He unfolded it further, revealing not just words but emotions carved in ink, a glimpse into Grandma's heart. "The garden has always been my sanctuary," it read. "It holds my secrets, memories, and dreams. To my family I leave more than just soil and flowers. I leave pieces of myself, hidden deep, waiting for discovery. A part of my heart can always be found in this garden." Tears pricked his eyes, blurring the words. She meant this place. She wanted us to uncover it, Billy exclaimed. His mother sniffed, brushing away her tears with the back of her hand. "This is just like her," she said, her voice breaking with emotion. "Always teaching us about life and love." Billy leaned against her, absorbing the warmth radiating from her. It felt like Grandma was with them, wrapping them in her love and wisdom, even now. "But where does this key go?" Uncle Joe broke in, glancing around the garden as if it might reveal its secret at any moment. "There have to be more clues. She wouldn't just leave us hanging, right?" A quiet fell over them as they took that in. They were standing on the cusp of a mystery, a huge bond across generations tied up in those simple, dusty bottles. Billy's heart raced with determination. "We'll find it. Together." "Together," echoed his mother and his uncle simultaneously. As they stood around the little garden, their eyes started scanning the area, the ancient stones, the old shed, every nook and cranny, looking for anything that could correspond with the key. It wasn't just about digging into the soil anymore. It was digging into family history, uncovering threads of who they were connected to. Then, Billy's gaze fell upon a small door tucked under the shed, nearly hidden by creeping vines. "What about there?" He pointed, excitement surging through him like electricity. The little door looked untouched for ages, just begging to be opened. Could this be the key's purpose? The moment of truth approached fast, and he wondered, what lay behind that door? They exchanged glances, questions bubbling in the air, their fates entwined like roots of an ancient oak. The next step beckoned, and though fear swirled within him, hope danced brighter. "I think we're about to find something amazing," Billy said, swallowing his nerves. As they stepped closer, the garden stood quiet, waiting, echoing promises of secrets both treasured and precious. But what would they uncover when they opened that door? Billy took a deep breath, the air thick with anticipation. The little door under the old shed looked like it hadn't been opened in years. Vines curled around its edges, almost as if they were trying to protect whatever lay behind it. "Should we?" his mother began, uncertainty flickering across her face. "Yes," Billy encouraged, filled with an urge he couldn't quite understand. "Grandma left this for us. We have to see what's inside." Uncle Joe took a step forward. "Let me." He knelt and brushed away the leaves, revealing the door's rusty handle. It squeaked as he turned it. The door creaked open, a cloud of dust swirling into the sunlight like little fairies caught in a dance. They peered inside, and Billy's heart raced as shadows played across the dimly lit space. Cobwebs hung like curtains, shrouding old treasures that awaited them. "It's just so dark," his mother whispered, hesitating. "Mom, we can do this together." Billy squeezed her hand. With another deep breath, Uncle Joe stepped inside first, his feet crunching on the floor strewn with dried leaves and old newspapers. Followed by his mother, Billy stepped forward, shadows engulfing him momentarily before the sunlight streamed in behind him. Even in the gloom, something caught Billy's eye. A shape emerged slowly from the darkness, a small wooden chest, oddly polished compared to everything else around. The key in his pocket felt heavier, pulsing with energy as if it had a life of its own. "Is that?" Uncle Joe's voice trailed off, eyes wide with wonder. "It has to be." Billy rushed forward, almost stumbling. He knelt beside the chest, surprised by how vibrant its colors looked, a deep emerald green that sparkled even in the dim light. His heart drummed in his chest as he retrieved the key. It seemed to glow in his palm, as if urging him on. This was what it was meant for. With shaky fingers he inserted it into the lock. Click. The lock turned easily, and Billy's breath hitched as he lifted the lid. Dust flaked off, sending a shroud of sparkling particles into the air. Inside, carefully laid out, were delicate envelopes, each embossed with a different symbol that resonated with warmth. His mother gasped, leaning closer. "Look, Billy. What do you think they are?" He sorted through the envelopes, gently lifting the first one. As he opened it, the faded paper crackled. The handwriting seemed familiar, almost like Grandma was talking to him. "My dear ones," it began. His heart swelled as he read on, words reaching out across time. "This is where I tucked away my letters of love," the note continued. "Each of you holds a piece of my heart, and these secrets are filled with my hopes for you." "Oh wow," Billy marveled, his fingers brushing over the aged paper. She wanted us to know her dream for our lives. But what overwhelmed him more was the undeniable connection he felt. Each letter carried her spirit, her strength, and a piece of their family legacy. He pulled out another envelope and another, reading the names scrawled on the front. "Grandma thought of everything. She saved a part of herself for us in each letter." His voice broke, reverberating the weight of realization. Uncle Joe blinked hard, his eyes glistening. "This is incredible. She must have spent hours writing these." "Can I read one?" his mother asked, her tone soft with tenderness. "Please." As she opened one, a silence fell over them. They felt her presence even more keenly now, the past intertwining with their present in the most beautiful way. But as they delved deeper into the chest, they noticed something amiss, a flash of something small and shiny hidden beneath the letters. What could it be? Wait, what's that? Billy asked, unable to focus on the letter in his hand. With anxious hearts they leaned forward, curiosity peaking. And just then the garden held its breath. What else had Grandma hidden away for them to uncover? Billy didn't dare move, feeling the weight of the moment as if the very air sparkled with magic. What other secrets lurked in the shadows of the past? Billy's breath caught in his throat as he stared at the hint of shiny metal peeking out beneath the stacks of letters. The air seemed to shift around them, alive with excitement and anticipation. His heart raced not just from his discovery, but from the thrill of uncovering something deeper, something hidden that belonged to Grandma. What is it? His mother asked, her voice barely above a whisper. She was just as captivated as he was. I don't know, Billy replied, trying to keep his voice steady. But it feels important. He reached down and gently tugged at the edges of the letters to reveal more. A small worn locket sat nestled amid the envelopes. It sparkled in the dim light, its gold surface reflecting fragments of dust dancing in the air. Billy's fingers trembled as he lifted it out. "Wow," Uncle Joe breathed, stepping closer to inspect it. "That's beautiful. Do you think it was hers?" "I think so," Billy said, his thumb brushing over its cool surface. He could see faint engravings on the front, a delicate flower and an inscription that looked like initials. He flipped it over and a small latch opened with a soft click. Inside the locket were two tiny pictures. One was of Grandma as a young woman, her eyes sparkling with youth and hope. The other was of a baby blanket wrapped and blissfully unaware of the world. "Is that me?" he instilled, squinting at the image. "No, that's not you," his mother chuckled softly, but her voice choked with emotion. "That must be your uncle when he was little." Billy blinked at the photo, a wave of warmth washing over him. He already loved the stories his mom told of her own childhood, but to see a piece of it was something else entirely. Why did Grandma keep this? He wondered aloud, feeling a connection between the generations that wrapped around him like a warm hug. "Maybe because she loved us all so much," Uncle Joe suggested, his voice breaking a little. He rubbed his eyes as if trying to blink away the memories being jolted awake. Every moment, every memory, it mattered to her. "But there's more," Billy insisted, driven by a sudden sense of urgency. He carefully set the locket down and plunged back into the chest, pulling aside more letters, desperate to uncover whatever else Grandma had stored away. He dug deeper, and after shifting through more envelopes, his fingers hit something unusual. Hard and round, he fished out two small baby bottles, each sealed tightly. "What are these?" he murmured, astonished. His mother crouched down beside him, eyes wide. "I've never seen those before." Billy uncapped one with haste. Inside, a collection of paper slips floated in a sea of liquid. They had faded ink, barely legible but flickering with memories. "Mom, look." He held it up for everyone to see. "Do you think there are more letters?" Uncle Joe asked, intrigued. "Let us find out," Billy exclaimed, his heart thumping wildly. They shared a glance filled with a blend of excitement and trepidation. Could these baby bottles contain more of Grandma's secrets? Hidden messages for them to discover? Lessons tucked away like treasures, waiting to be rebirthed in this moment? As they peered closer, the tension hung in the air, wrapping around them like a thick fog. What legacy did Grandma want them to uncover in this peculiar mix of love and mystery? Billy felt an undeniable urge to discover the truth, something pulling at him from deep within the bottles. The unknown possibilities sizzled in the air, each question weaving into their hearts. With trembling hands he tightened his grip on the baby bottles, ready to dive into the depths of Grandma's hidden world. But where would it lead them? Billy hesitated, staring at the baby bottle in his hand as if it held the weight of the world. The soft clinking of the fragile slips against the glass rang like a tiny bell in the stillness. He could feel the room holding its collective breath, expectations mingling with the memory of Grandma's loving embrace. The air was thick with emotion, nearly suffocating, as if everyone were waiting for him to unveil what lay hidden. "Let us start with this one," he decided, gesturing to the bottle. His mother nodded, her expression a mixture of encouragement and concern. She moved a little closer, her eyes steady on the letters swirling in the liquid. Carefully, Billy tilted the bottle towards the light, watching as the slips together formed a beautiful dance in the murky fluid. What if these are notes? He ventured, glancing at Uncle Joe. What if Grandma wanted us to read them when we were older? Or if she just wanted to keep them safe? Uncle Joe mused, running a hand through his thinning hair. Some things are meant to be remembered, especially the good times. With a deep breath, Billy drew his hand back, ready to release the contents. But a knot formed in his stomach. What if it was too personal? What if he wasn't meant to know? His throat tightened as he fought against uncertainty, fingers dancing over the slippery surface. His mother took a gentle cue from his hesitation. "You don't have to do this if you're not ready, sweetheart," she said softly, her concern tangling with his own. "I want to know," he replied, determination igniting in his chest. The urge to understand who Grandma had been beyond motherhood pushed him forward. So, with newfound resolve, he pulled the slip out and immediately felt a rush of energy whirl around him as if the room were coming alive. Billy unfolded the first letter with unsteady hands, a breathless hush settling over them as he began to read aloud. "Dear Sarah." He started reading Grandma's flowing script. "I remember the first time I held you. It was a moment etched in my heart forever. A love I never knew existed." His mother's eyes glistened, and he glanced up to see Uncle Joe wiping a tear. The words tumbled forward, each one flooding the room with warmth and nostalgia. As the letter continued to unveil memories, they learned not just about the love and laughter in Grandma's life, but also the pain. There were tales of heartache, losses, birthdays celebrated, and dreams woven together. A tapestry of Grandma's life was unraveling right in front of them. Billy felt like he was flying high, each word granting him deeper insight into the woman who had taught him kindness and always filled their home with cookies and warm hugs. He finished the first slip, barely noting how the others waited to share their stories. But it was the last line that made his heart skip. "Remember, no matter what happens, love is the greatest gift we can share." "Wow," he whispered, the enormity of those words sinking in. The truth washed over him, recognizing how much Grandma had sacrificed, loved, and hoped. It felt electric, igniting something deep inside him. "Can we read the other bottle?" Uncle Joe asked, his voice laced with excitement, shifting the mood in the room. "Yeah, let us see what else." Billy smiled, overriding his earlier uncertainty. He felt empowered, the stories not just being his heritage but a bridge connecting their lives. As they prepared the other bottle, a sudden thought struck him hard. What if we find something about Grandpa? His pulse quickened at the prospect. The air grew thicker with excitement and anticipation as they gathered around, hearts pounding, ready to delve deeper into the mysteries Grandma had treasured so dearly. What more could these letters reveal? Would they be stronger than mere words, unearthing family secrets that stretched back through years of love, sacrifice, and heartache? As he uncorked the second bottle, a rush of courage resurfaced in Billy. This was just the beginning. Billy's fingers trembled slightly as he lifted the second bottle, the anticipation buzzing around him like electricity. The sunlight caught the glass, illuminating the swirling contents within. This time he felt a mix of hope and trepidation. What secrets lay inside? Would they find more echoes of Grandma's heart? Or perhaps something that would unveil the mystery of Grandpa? "Okay, here goes," he said, his voice steadying as he popped the cork. A faint hiss filled the air, like a whispering greeting. He tilted the bottle, watching as another set of slips danced to the surface. "Is this the same kind?" his mother asked, peering in expectantly. "Let us find out." Billy grinned, his curiosity overwhelming any fear that lingered. He carefully pulled out the first slip and started reading. "Dear Michael," he read aloud, his heart racing at the surprise of hearing Grandpa's name. "From our first date at that little diner, I knew you were something special." Billy could hear the collective intake of breath in the room. His mother's eyes widened, and Uncle Joe leaned in closer as he continued. The words began to paint a vivid picture of love blossoming amidst uncertainty. Stories of shared laughter, silly arguments, and unconditional support spilled forth, wrapping the room in warmth. Billy felt light as he read, absorbing a more profound understanding of not just Grandma's love, but of a life shared. "We faced storms together, but your hand always held mine." Billy's voice caught as he spoke the words. The room was silent, filled with unspoken memories. Each recollection felt like a treasure unearthed, illuminating the enduring bond between Grandma and Grandpa. His heart swelled thinking of how their love had shaped his own family. His voice grew steadier as he reached the end of the letter. And no matter what challenges may come, remember that love always prevails. Tears brimmed in his mother's eyes, and Uncle Joe blinked hard. Emotion etched across his face. "Billy, that's beautiful," his mother murmured, wiping a tear away with the back of her hand. Billy turned to the next slip, eager to continue. What if there's more about Grandpa? He wondered aloud. Or maybe there's something about your family, Uncle Joe added, his intrigue feeding Billy's excitement. The next letter began with a different tone, one that felt heavier. "Dear love," the script began. "There are things I never shared. A part of my heart that remained hidden." Billy swallowed hard, the room growing tense with unspoken anticipation. What was coming? As he read on, words of regret spilled over the pages, detailing dreams deferred and feelings compartmentalized. "I wish I had been stronger. There were moments when I lost the courage to speak my truth." Billy's heart sank, the weight of abandonment pressing in as he understood that love could be beautifully complicated. He glanced at his mother, who looked pained yet captivated. If only she had shared these sooner, Billy whispered to himself, feeling a mix of frustration and empathy. There were echoes of life lessons unlearned, opportunities missed. The words unfolded into a revelation about the struggles Grandma had endured, not just in love but in silence, a silence that stretched through generations. "Is that why?" his mother murmured, her thoughts trailing off. "What if Grandma's hidden strength was to protect us?" Billy candidly questioned, caught in a web of exposures and realizations. "No family is without its scars," Uncle Joe replied, his voice subdued. "But what we do with them, that's what makes the difference." Billy pondered this deeply, realizing that the letters were not merely messages. They were life lessons woven in love and sorrow. What they were uncovering was a map of resilience, family ties, and healing. He felt the urgency to keep reading. There had to be more. The weight of the remaining slips filled the room with potential, pushing away shadows of their past. At that moment he knew this journey had just begun. What truths would they uncover about their family next? Would it lead to healing or more questions? With the next letter in hand, he could hardly wait to find out. Billy took a breath, ready to turn the page once again. Billy took a deep breath, heart racing as he unfolded the next slip. The scent of aged paper wafted up, mingling with the musty air of the attic. It felt sacred, this moment of unveiling. With each word, he hoped to piece together the labyrinth of family emotions, longing for clarity and closure. "Dear Michael," the letter began again, but this time there was a tone of desperation. "As I write this, I find myself reflecting on the choices I've made, the weight of each one resting heavily on my soul." Billy's brow furrowed. He could detect sadness wrapped tightly in the words. It was almost palpable, a profound sense of yearning that drew everyone in closer, as if the room itself held its breath in anticipation. He glanced at his mother, whose expression had shifted, tracking the vast landscape of emotions emerging before them. "Billy," she started softly, but he motioned for her to let him finish. He felt compelled to embrace each emotion, every syllable breathing life into the shadows of the past. "She never let us see this side of her," Uncle Joe whispered, almost to himself, clearly moved. The words flowed like whispers of the heart, detailing regrets about not pursuing her dreams. "I wanted to be a painter." The realization hit Billy hard. He glanced at the far wall, where Grandma's forgotten canvases had lain silent, collecting dust. "But every time I picked up a brush, fear gripped me. I let the everyday pull me away. I let life happen to me, instead of living it." The crack in both Grandma's voice and Billy's heart widened. Those unfulfilled dreams echoed loudly, creating a haunting sense of loss. His mother choked back a sob. They were learning so much more than they ever expected, discovering how layers of silence can turn into burdens. Billy's fingers trembled once more as he read on, wanting desperately to understand the struggles and fears that had shaped their family ties. "I wish I had shown you that passion. I wish you had seen the fire within me." Did she really hide all this? Billy pondered aloud. Why did she bury her dreams? The questions bubbled up, raw and urgent, seeking resolution but finding confusion. "Because she thought it was necessary," his mother replied, her voice thick with emotion. "She thought being practical was what we needed." Billy's heart ached for her, for the weight she carried alone, fears that had never drifted into the light of day. It was as if he were standing at the edge of a vast canyon, seeing the expansiveness of all that had been, and yet feeling lost in the depths of what could have been. And maybe that is why she held on to these letters, Uncle Joe added, letting his eyes linger on the bottle, to speak what she couldn't say out loud. With warm resolve, Billy prepared to read the next letter, sensing a different energy surrounding it. Dear Michael, it started, but this time there was a brighter tone. When the sun rises, remember it brings hope. Billy's heart fluttered in anticipation. Hope? What had Grandma done to embrace hope? Let us keep going, he said, a new spark igniting within him. His mother nodded, tears drying as curiosity replaced despair. They needed these letters. They needed to connect all the pieces of the past to move forward with their lives. As Billy continued reading, a question nudged at his heart. What was the hope Grandma had found? And would it reach them too? Would it heal their past? Or bring about more revelations? He turned the slip over, eager to unveil the next part of the story, and with every word, he could feel the threads of their family weaving tighter. But would it be enough to unravel the deeper mysteries of their hearts? As Billy dug deeper into the letters, he felt as if he were embarking on a journey through time, unearthing pieces of his family's soul. The air was thick with anticipation, and he could feel his mother and Uncle Joe leaning in closer, their emotions tangling together in a way that felt like magic. Dear Michael, he read, the words tumbling off the paper like petals from a flower. Your love has been my anchor. In every storm of doubt, you remind me of my worth. The tremble in Billy's voice echoed the yearning they all felt, as if Grandma were speaking to them from a long-lost dream, revealing the truths buried deep within her heart. With every letter, they uncovered stories of resilience, laughter, and even heartbreak. Grandma had more than dreams. She had a legacy of strength woven through her everyday life. I've sacrificed much, yet I've never regretted loving you or our family, Billy continued reading, and each word wrapped around his heart, tightening the bond they shared. Then he reached a passage that stopped him in his tracks. But I also want you to chase your dreams, to paint your own life in bold strokes, he read aloud. Never let fear silence your voice. It's the greatest gift you have. A shift happened in the room, a sense of gravity that anchored them all together. Billy's mother wiped a tear as Uncle Joe whispered, she wanted us to break free. It's true, Billy said, heart pounding with revelation. We've been holding on to Grandma's fears instead of embracing her dreams. This isn't just about her garden. It's about who we can become. He looked up, eyes wide. We need to honor her spirit by living our own lives fully. His mother nodded, her shoulders relaxing slightly, as if the weight she had carried for so long was beginning to lift. We can build the garden, Billy. We can do it for her and for us. And we'll share her story, so she can inspire generations to come. Yes, Uncle Joe agreed, excitement filling his voice. We'll celebrate her memory, not just through a garden but in our lives by living boldly. Billy felt light as air. This realization sparked hope, healing their tangled emotions. Encouraged by their newfound resolve, Billy turned back to the letters. He read the final slip aloud, and it encapsulated all their conversations, all their emotions. Remember, the love I nurtured in this garden of letters will carry on through you, he finished. Plant it in your hearts and let it grow. Never let fear overshadow your joy. His heart raced with electric energy. They were standing on the cusp of something extraordinary, a legacy they could reshape together. As they exited the small shed, Billy glanced back at the garden, once overgrown and forgotten, now brimming with potential. Let us create that garden, he said, bursting with determination. We'll plant flowers, vegetables, and every hopeful seed we can find. Grandma's dreams will grow here. And we'll share her letters too, making sure everyone knows who she was. Together, they began to outline their plans. His mother envisioned colorful blooms bursting forth, creating a waterfall of color, while Uncle Joe dreamed of a little picnic area where friends and family could gather, just like Grandma had cultivated in her heart. As the sun dipped below the horizon, glittering across the sky like Grandma's laughter, they stood hand in hand, a family united by love and purpose. We must start now, Billy insisted, excitement thrumming in his chest. Every moment counts. And with laughter interlaced with love, they set out to bring Grandma's garden to life, their hearts echoing with the truth of her letters. Life was to be lived in full bloom. As they dug into the earth, they uncovered not just roots but connections between them and their past, drawing closer with every laugh, every shared memory, entwining their futures with Grandma's unwavering spirit. The next chapter was unfolding, full of joy, love, and dreams unburdened by fear. They were ready to embrace it all. This is your moment too. Make sure you don't miss out. Subscribe immediately to the channel to catch amazing stories that inspire. Leave a like now to show support for the journey we've been on together. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this touching transformation. And please, share instantly with at least 5 friends who need to discover how love and dreams can heal even the heaviest of hearts. You need to spread this message. Don't wait not even one more second.